it's okay to stop playing D&D for a little while.
Hey everybody, it's Nick, and I just wanted to share some of my thoughts about D&D and DMing and sort of that like forever DM syndrome and some of my thoughts on it based on some things going on in real life with my campaign and sort of life situation right now. So for a bit of background on me, I've been playing D&D for like 14 years now. And for the first, 9 years or so, it was, you play a campaign for a few months, and then maybe you wouldn't for a year. And maybe that campaign that you played would just sort of end. Like, you would never get a boss battle, you would never finish the campaign. It would just, you would be meeting one week, and then you didn't ever meet again. Maybe scheduling conflicts, or the DM got burned out, or the campaign fell apart, or whatever. We were in high school or in college, and, just things sort of happened. And so that was pretty typical for me. And when I got out of college, I was still DMing for college age people. I was in the area. And so most of my campaigns would pretty much run from September when the school year started. We'd take a month off or so for winter break, and then we would end in May. And then we'd take the whole summer off, and then we'd jump back into it again in the summer. And so that was one campaign, was September to May, the end, and then you get a break and then move on. And so that has been a pretty typical kind of pace for me. And obviously, before COVID, we were playing in person, but once COVID happened, we started playing online, and we sort of realized, well, what's stopping us from continuing to play? The reason we weren't playing all year round was because we weren't together all year round. But now that we could play online, we could just play nonstop, right? And I thought, great, that's awesome. I'll just keep playing D&D. That's fantastic. And then I started to get pretty burned out. I didn't get that, full summer break before a campaign, didn't get that hard reset, so to speak, and sort of jumped into this campaign, but it was fine. I had a campaign idea I was really excited about. I had an amazing group of players who all made really cool characters, and after, a little bit of a struggle, they started to gel and jumped in with the ideas of the campaign, but something just wasn't clicking. Again, great players, great characters, cool story that I was excited about. So it seems like those are all the ingredients for a great D&D campaign, right? Well, not exactly. You see, every week it would go pretty much like this. We would play, and it would be an awesome session, really fun, glad we played, can't wait to see you guys again next week. And then a couple days later, I would sit down to start preparing what's actually going to happen. I just didn't want to. I was just burned out on the idea of prepping a session. Like, I thought cool things were going to happen, and I could sit there and think, oh, this is going to be an awesome thing. And it was like, great, now I have to actually do the work of getting it ready and prepare what these NPCs are going to say and prepare combat encounters and think of a cool, interesting, exciting thing to have happen every week. And basically it would come down to me talking to various Discords or my friends or Reddit and saying, hey, this is my situation. Give me something crazy. Give me a monster and I'll have them fight that. Or what should I do with this plot twist? Or all kinds of things like that. Desperately trying to come up with something. Sometimes literal minutes, like 10 or 15 minutes before the campaign started is when I came up with the biggest plot twist of the campaign. So it was just incredibly stressful trying to throw the tracks down in front of the train as it was going. And I do think that it has turned into a really cool, really fun campaign, but as it's going, it's just every week has been really tough to plan and prepare. And so I'm going to take a step back from it. And to be more clear, when I say take a step back, I mean, I'm going to stop playing D&D, which might sound weird in today's day and age. We have YouTube and Twitch and all the various live play channels, and we think that normally people play D&D just, every week for the rest of their lives until the campaign ends, and then a month or two later, you start a new campaign with the same DM, and you just keep going. But that's a really good recipe for burnout. And that's how I've been feeling for most of this campaign. It's really fun, it's really cool, it's really exciting, but during the week, all the planning and the prep has just been not exciting, not interesting. I haven't looked forward to having to do it. It feels like a chore. And when this hobby starts to feel like a chore, it's okay to stop doing it. I know it feels like, oh, we want to play D&D forever and we don't want to let any of our friends down. And I definitely feel that way. I don't want to let my players down by stopping the campaign. I know they're really enjoying it. And I really enjoy making something that excites them. But at the same time, it's not really doing it for me anymore. I don't really have things I'm excited to put into my game, or NPCs I'm really inspired to create, or combat encounters that I think are going to be phenomenal and engaging. I'm just sort of really last minute throwing something together that is playable. And because I have a lot of experience and because I know my players really, really well, it's working, but that doesn't make it any less stressful than it is. So my plan is to stop playing D&D. I might play in some games. I'm going to ask and see if any of these players want to start playing a game, but it would mostly be to hang out with these people because I love them so much. But D&D right now as a medium doesn't super excite me. And maybe I want to play another TTRPG. Maybe I want to try Pathfinder 2 or a Star Wars RPG or Cyberpunk Red or something totally different. Maybe I just want to stop altogether. This also has to do a little bit with my real life is just getting more busy. I've had less time. You've noticed I've uploaded a lot fewer videos. And part of that is because I'm just not inspired lately by my own campaign, and that's where I get most of my video ideas, but also because I've been really busy in real life, and it means that I'm scrambling and trying to prepare with all my free time, and then it's really stressful, and I'm using a lot of my free time to prepare this campaign, and it's just become more of a chore than a fun, exciting hobby. And I know because we're so plugged into the D&D community, it feels like a moral imperative to play D&D every week, and it's such a good game, and it's so fun, so why wouldn't you always want to be playing? And that is true, and I know a lot of my audience is newer DMs, and maybe you don't feel like you could ever get burned out on this game, and I totally get that. Again, for years and years, I never intentionally took a break from a game because we sort of had a natural ebb and flow to that. But it's also important to be able to take a break. If this isn't fun for you anymore, don't do it. Now again, D&D has been a part of my life since I was a very, very young person, and I never think that I'm going to quit or stop playing. Again, I love it, but for now, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to do other things. My real life is very busy right now, and I don't have a lot of time. And so whenever that settles down, no idea when, I'll jump back in. But for the time being, I'm not planning on DMing a campaign until sometime late next year, probably next September. We'll get back into that September to May cycle, but I didn't really get that break of this summer because of COVID and everything. And so I'm probably going to stop DMing now-ish and continue on not DMing until next school year. Would be ideal for me if, schedule allows and everything loosens up a little bit in my real life. But until then, I'm going to take a break, and it's going to feel great. I really resonate with Matt Colville video that actually came out pretty recently about the DM also being a player and the DM finding their fun in the game, and how a lot of the DM's fun is derived from, did their players have fun? And that is very true for me. If my players had a good time, I had a good time. But it is also possible for me to not have a good time if my players are having a good time. If I'm not enjoying it or I'm not excited about it, especially during the week, if I'm not running a game I'm excited about, I think I'm going to run a lower quality game and people are going to be less excited about it. And so I think it's just best to take a pause for a little while. Take a step back. It's okay. Do other things. Play games with those people. Play different games with those people. Pause D&D if it's not exciting, if it's not fun. And it is kind of a bummer because you sometimes let down a group of friends that you really care about and you want to create this thing for them to get excited about every week. But at the end of the day, it's okay, and it's actually really good for you to take a step back, to pause, to make D&D a thing that is fun and exciting again. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, and I'm hoping that with a little bit of a break, I will be able to be really excited and really energized by D&D as a hobby once again, and be something that I really look forward to running every week. So I have no idea what videos are in the future. If I'm not running, then I'm not really inspired to make things. So I don't know what I will be making videos about, or if I'll be making videos. Again, I'm really busy week to week, and so it is possible that I won't make any videos at all. I hope that's not the case. I would really like to. But that's sort of an update on me. I may do some various response videos to other YouTubers in the community. I'll link some things down below. There's some phenomenal YouTubers who are doing really great stuff. Sort of plugged into a community of RPG YouTubers, and we bounce ideas off of each other all the time. And those folks are doing awesome work. And so I will link a bunch of their channels down below to various DM advice, player stuff, adventures that they're reviewing, Pathfinder channels, all kinds of really cool stuff. So there is a wide range of other YouTube content to consume if I'm not around. But if you have ideas or thoughts or questions about DMing or D&D in general, maybe it's something that is really answerable in just a comment and I'll reply to you, or maybe it's something that I go, that's really cool. I have a lot to say about that. I'm going to make a whole video on that. So if you have questions about running D&D or general things or just my thoughts about stuff, please leave them in the comments, and I try my best to engage with the comments as much as I can. But that is sort of an update on what's going on with me and some of my thoughts about how important it is to occasionally take a step back, and that being okay. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you sometime.